Hey, what's up? My name is Jasper and I'd like to welcome you to my new channel. The focus of this channel will be what has been the focus of my life for the last 20 years. And that is consciousness. That is trying to figure out what it means to be a conscious being and trying to figure out what consciousness is and how it works, or how you can influence it, or how it influences you, or what does it mean to be made up of consciousness. The thing that surprises me a lot in this world is that somehow I ended up on the fringes when trying to figure out what life is. When to me it seems it is the most important question anyone can ask. And that we should ask as a culture, a society, or a species, whatever you want to call it. Right? I mean, it's a pretty crazy thing that happened to us. We woke up in a place where pretty much everything else seems to be asleep. But we don't know because we have no way to check. So it's this crazy situation where you seem to be aware of things and you have no way of checking what it really is. So that's very interesting. I would say it's the first priority of a human being to try to figure out, not necessarily figure it out, but to try and figure out what it is he is. And based on what he thinks he is, he should be able to decide what he wants to be or where he wants to go. To me, that seems like the first thing anyone should do. That is what growing up is, right? That is what it means to become an adult, is to find yourself, and not to find yourself like you're some sort of being that needs to be found. Finding yourself could be a proactive thing where you are creating yourself. That's fine. I don't want to look at that too closely right now. What I would like to look at is the fact that we've managed to create a society and we've managed to deal with our children and anyone really in a way that we just push away this question that, again, to me seems like the most vital question that we could ever look at. And so I spent 20 years in the fringe, in a way, trying to figure out what it means to be alive, what it means to have a consciousness, what it means to die, and all these things, right? And I've come across a lot of great insights. I've learned a lot, or I forgot a lot as well, in a way, and we'll get back to that. And one of the things I've noticed is that the way we have set up our education, the way we've set up our society, the way we raise our children, really is exactly the opposite of the way we should be doing things. You see, the main issue I find in all these structures and processes and concepts is that we tend to brainwash each other into following along, into being dependent. In a way, you could say that to be a well-behaved citizen is to be a citizen that is asleep, a citizen that is part of something but not truly something in and of itself, that is not able to function without the rest of his culture, society, family, social circle, whatever. Someone is not able to think for himself or to decide on things. We are to assimilate what has been accepted as the truth or what has been accepted as common sense. And to think differently, no, it's not something we welcome. Something I've realized is that you should start with the ending in mind. Like Stephen Covey so famously said in his 7 Habits. And the ending of what this is going to be is that I would like you to stop watching this channel. Now, I don't mean that in a way that if you turn off this video, we're done and I've achieved what I set out to do. What I mean is that the first thing in this whole process, which turns out to be the only thing, is that you need to be able to own yourself, to think for yourself, to be a consciousness that is consciousness, that is conscious. And what I'm talking about is that you as a being are self-reliant. You don't need a specific thing or a specific someone in order to feel fulfilled or in order to be in charge of what is going on here. Right? You have this. It is given to you. And that is something I would like to open you up to. I would like to inspire you to get to work on the subjects that I've discussed so far. I would like to inspire you to see that it is time for you to acknowledge the fact that you're not prepared to deal with life, in a way. With true life. And what I would like to do is to get you to start looking at that. And, you know, if my movies are helpful in that's exactly what I would like it to be. But there should be a point in which you say, you know what? I've had enough of this guy. I don't need him. I'm going to do this by myself. And that's the ideal outcome. It's the only outcome, really. If you don't become self-reliant, you're not anything. Now, when I look at explaining what has to do with consciousness, what it means to be conscious, what I see is that there's two big separate paths that we can walk. On the one hand, we have the what does the world look like path, which will be discussed in this channel under the Nomer metaflow. You see, metaflow for me is an important concept that I've developed through the years for myself. You know, I'm not saying it's a new concept. I'm just saying that for me, I've infused it with meaning, and that meaning is the structure of the world, the structure of consciousness, the structure of society, all these things, the structure. So basically what I'm saying is when I look at the world, when I look at myself, what do I see? All right? I think that can be helpful for you to discover new perspectives, to get confirmed in things you might feel are the case but you never heard anyone said, all these things. Something's going on my camera. The temperature is rising. That's probably not a good thing. That is probably not a good thing at all. Alright, we'll just have to deal with it. The second thing is seeing. You see, it's cool to tell someone what you see, right? When I look at that, this is what I see. And then the person will be like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that was something someone could see, or I've never looked at it in that regard, or I totally disagree because when I look, I see this, right? Just true conversation with people that are truly looking is interesting. But what I find truly interesting is how does looking work? How does one see? And more importantly, how does one get to a point where one can see for himself? And that is the other part of the equation. And that part I call the process, which perhaps isn't too ingenious of a creative name, but it's the truth of what I see. I see structure and process, I see meta flow, and I see the process. And the process is the process of consciousness, the process of expansion, the process of learning. It is how one gets to be what one is, and which will result in determining what one can see, or how one can change how one looks. So 111, what is this one, right? That is the essence. And of course, this video isn't working out, so I'm going to quit. Because apparently the camera's overheating after 16 minutes, which is not supposed to happen. So I'm sorry. Bye.